Hey, Richmond Landlords, quick question. Are you actually making the returns you expected, or are little landlord mistakes quietly eating your profit? Because here's the truth. You can buy a great property and still lose money if you make a few common mistakes. Today, I'm walking you through 5 expensive mistakes Richmond area landlords make and exactly how to avoid them so you protect your property, your time, and your cash flow. I'm Calvin Davis with Key Renter Richmond Property Management, and we help owners throughout Richmond and the surrounding areas lease smarter, maintain proactively, and run rentals like a business. All right, let's get into it. Mistake number 1, buying the wrong property. Let's start at the beginning, the purchase. One of the most expensive mistakes, buying a property that looks like a deal but turns into a money pit. In Richmond, this can happen when owners underestimate renovation and repair costs, ongoing maintenance on older homes, or they buy in an area where rent demand doesn't match the mortgage and upkeep. And on the rental side, the numbers matter. Zillow's current data puts average rent in Richmond around $1,600. So if your all-in costs are too high and your rent ceiling is realistic, your great deal becomes a stress test. How to avoid it. Before you buy, run a conservative pro forma. Expected rent, not the best case rent. Vacancy assumptions, maintenance reserves, and realistic turns and CapEx. If you're not sure what your property can rent for today, that's exactly the kind of thing we help owners evaluate. Mistake number 2, skipping tenant screening. This one is simple. Bad screening is expensive screening. When landlords rush and skip steps, they often end up with late payments, repeated lease violations, property damage, and costly evictions. And in a market where rent affordability is tight, screening is even more important. A recent Richmond analysis cited median rent around $1,600 and highlighted rent burden pressure on renters. Key point, screening has to be thorough and compliant. In Virginia, the law also sets rules around application fees. An application fee generally can't exceed $50, with some exceptions for HUD-regulated housing. And if you use a tenant screening report to deny an applicant, federal law under the Fair Credit Reporting Act requires an adverse action notice with specific information. How to avoid it? Use a consistent process every time. For income verification, rental history, credit and background where appropriate, and clear written criteria applied fairly. Screening is where you prevent problems, not where you create them. Mistake number 3, neglecting regular property inspections. A lot of landlords avoid inspections because they don't want to feel intrusive. But here's what inspections actually do. They catch small problems before they turn into big invoices. Without inspections, you can miss slow leaks, HVAC neglect, unauthorized pets, extra occupants, or tenant-caused damage that quietly gets worse over time. Virginia law allows landlord access for legitimate reasons, like inspection, repairs, or showings, but you need to do it correctly. Under Virginia Code 55.1-1229, landlords generally must give notice before entering, except in emergencies, at reasonable times. And there's also a 72-hour notice requirement for certain routine maintenance that wasn't requested by the tenant. How to avoid it? Have a simple inspection rhythm. Move-in inspections with photos, mid-lease inspections, even once a year helps, and move-out inspections. Inspections protect you and the tenant because expectations are clear and issues get handled early. Before I share mistake number 4, quick note. If you're a Richmond area landlord and you want help maximizing rent, reducing vacancies, and preventing expensive maintenance surprises, Key Renter of Richmond Property Management can help. You can schedule a quick owner consultation here, keyrenterrichmond.com/schedule. All right, back to it. Mistake number 4, delaying maintenance repairs. This is one of the fastest ways to lose money. A small issue becomes a big one when you delay. A tiny leak becomes water damage and mold remediation. A clogged drain becomes a flood. A minor HVAC issue becomes a full-on replacement. And beyond the repair bill, delayed maintenance often leads to unhappy tenants, more turnover, and worse reviews and leasing performance. How to avoid it? Treat maintenance like an investment, not a nuisance. Respond fast to water-related issues. Do seasonal preventative checkups, and keep a reserve fund so repairs aren't a crisis. In property management, speed matters. The faster you resolve issues, the more stable your tenancy usually is. Mistake number 5, mishandling tenant turnovers. Turnovers can make or break your yearly profit. Here's why. A vacancy isn't just lost rent. It's also utilities, lawn care, marketing, showing time, and often a rushed rehab that costs more than it should. Even in a strong market, vacancy exists, and supply and absorption change over time. Recent Richmond multifamily reporting shows shifting vacancy and absorption dynamics as deliveries catch up. How to avoid it? Run turnovers like a checklist-based system. Start renewal conversations early. Schedule pre-move out walkthroughs when appropriate. Line up vendors before the keys come back. Take professional quality photos fast and price it correctly based on current comps. A smooth turnover is where you protect your annual return. So to recap, the 5 expensive mistakes Richmond landlords should avoid are buying the wrong property, skipping tenant screening, neglecting regular inspections, delaying maintenance repairs, mishandling tenant turnovers. If you avoid these, you'll save money, reduce stress, and run your rental like a business. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which one of these mistakes have you seen or dealt with before. And if you want help leasing or managing your Richmond area rental, schedule a call with us at keyrenterrichmond.com/schedule. I'm Calvin Davis with Key Renter Richmond Property Management. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.